Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. How are you all doing? So today in this video we'll try to solve Leetcode problem 1678, which is to do goal parser interpretation. So what we have to do is basically you have been given a string here which is the input. The input string, it's a string which is G and then the curly brackets and again brackets and inside a string in it AL. So the whole thing is you have been given this input and you need to get the output goal. So every time you have to get the output goal, it could be with multiple O's and A. So how it works is if it's a G, if input has a G, like just take this single string, then you get the output G. If it's a bracket, the bracket without nothing in it, like empty bracket, then this means O, then you should return O. And if this bracket has any string in it which will always be L, then you should return a L with it, so which means GOAL. So in this instance, if you see, this is G, this is empty string, so which means O. So G O O O O, and this means AL. So this whole thing means AL, right? That's the whole point. If like this is literally this thing you have to translate. So every time any of these things are in the input, you have to return this thing, and you have to add all of them together and just return it as output. That's the whole thing. So I'll just write it. So basically if it's G, you want it to be G. So literally we're going to solve this problem using if and else statement because it's easy. So if it's a G, you return G, and if it's not G but if it's this thing, right? I'll show you how to solve. If it's this thing, then what you want to do, if it's this thing, then what you want is, then you want to check that what is the next element after this. So next element after this you want to check what is it. Then if it's this thing, then what you want, then you want to output O. And other thing you could check that if it's this thing, right, like just the first bracket is there, and next thing you see, if it's not this thing, right, and if it's this L, then what you want to output, you want to output L. Easy as that. That's the whole question. So for this example goal, let's say we'll keep that in mind and we'll try to solve it. So how would you do it? For this one it would be G and then O for this one, and this is AL, so AL, easy. So let's try to solve it. If you want you can try it now, but it would be just using a if else statement, and let's do it. So as usual, so what we'll do, I want to store the output in an array, so I'll create an array which will be named as output, and I will create I'm using var here, and create a new variable called new command, new command. So what is this command? Command is the input, which is this goal. So I don't want it directly, so to go through this whole string I want to loop through it. I want to use a for loop, right? And you cannot use a for loop on a string directly. You want to split it, because I want to get hold of all this element. If it's G, I want this G. If it's this empty string, I want this. For that I'll have to separate all of them. For that I'll use a split method of array built in JavaScript method. So what I'll do, I'll say okay, variable new command equals to, I'll say command, and then I'll say okay, now what I want to do, I want to split it, right? So I have to say split, use the split, and I want to split it by each character. So after this what I'll get here, this new command right now here, it's like you can think something like this, G this, right? And like this, it's literally like this thing, and then the other thing is like this, like everything is divided into, do you see these things are divided like this as well, and same goes like this. It's more, and for this like same like this, and probably this O is here, and then A is here, and then L is here. Do you get it what I am trying to say? Basically everything is divided. You got it. And So that's what's going on, right? So right now we have got hold of all the characters, and now what I want to run a for loop. So I'll say for variable I equals 0, I should be less than new command new command dot length, and I want to run it every time by increasing it by 1. That's it. So now we're just gonna use the if else statement. So what, as I said you in the beginning, what we're gonna test all the cases. So I'll say if new command at I, right? And what we will try to do, we'll use it using the 3 equals. So when we use 3 equals, you are checking directly with the exact identity. So here I'm checking if new command at I, so I'm checking if this G, if it equals to, basically in the beginning I'm saying if it's equals to this empty bracket. So basically I'm going through this whole thing, what was here in this goal. I'm saying if it equal to this empty bracket, right, then I want to put a if condition, and then I'll say if it's equal to this, then I want to check one more thing. I want to say if new command at, now I want to say I plus 1, because I want to check what's after this, right? I want to check that. So I want to say if I plus 1, if this thing, if it's equals to this thing, like if it's opening and then if it's closing, like I already got to know that if it's opening and if it's closing, then it means it's this and this. Then what do we want it to be? We want it equal to be O. Then what I'll do, I'll say output output dot push, and then what I'll say, okay, output dot push, I want to push O, which will be goal O, right? But if it's not this, like if it's this, but the next I plus 1 is not this, then what I'll say, I'll put here a else if condition, right? I'll put a else if condition that if new command at I plus 1, right? Because you are checking the after element. If new command at I plus 1 equals A, or if new command at I plus 1 equals L. So it could be any of these things. If any of these things are there, then what I want is, I want to output dot push. I want to put into that output array. I want to push into that output array. What do I want to push? I want to push AL. That's what we said. See, if it's A or L, then see, we want this thing, right? AL. Why we did this? Because if this is there, it will push AL, and if this is there, it should also push AL. And we are just checking for I plus 1 one time, and there is a problem with this. So what the problem is that if it's A, then it will push AL, right? Because it's O or get we are using. But then you will say if when it goes to L again, it will again push a L, and we don't want that, right? That's why what we'll do, we'll say whenever any of this thing is there, you do I plus plus. So you get out of this loop. And so what happened? We checked two cases. If it's AL, we will get the value. If it's the brackets, we will get the value. Now what's left? So see, this else condition, else if is ending here, and this is the main if condition which is ending here. And what we'll do is here that after this else condition, and so once we have checked that if it's this one, if it's this, then what I'll do after this, I will put again else if condition. Now why we are putting this else if condition? Because now we want to check that if it's not this, which means what is it? Only one thing left, G. So else if, you can directly put a condition, but I'll put an, just to make it clear, I will write the whole thing. You can directly write else, and you can write, so I'll say if new command at I, if it's equals to G, the goal G, right? Then what do I want? I want to push output dot push. I want to push G for goal. And after the whole for loop is completed, what we'll do? We don't have to do anything. Just output dot push. That's it. And output dot push what? New command. New command. That's it. And if you push it now, you will get all of this, but with the comma, but you don't want the comma in it. So what you'll do, you'll say return output, output dot push. Now you'll say return output dot join. You want to join it, right? So you will join all of this, and you don't want it with a comma, so you will put a comma here. So it will join all of them with all the commas, so it will remove all the spaces between it, and then you just want to return it. And if you run the code now, then it should work. See, you got the good answer. And now if I try to submit it, then you should get a good solution as well. Yeah, we got a good solution. So that's all for today's video. If you came to my video, it means you like how I try to teach. So make sure you subscribe my channel, like my video, and share it to your friends who wants to start learning Leetcode, because this is literally one of the easiest way you'll find to solve problems on Leetcode. Thank you.